Welcome to The Explainer. If you're a new parent, you know the feeling. You're basically drowning in advice from your mother-in-law, that random person on the internet, and everyone in between. Well, today we're here to help. We are cutting through all that noise and tackling the super overwhelming world of newborn care.
I mean, it really does feel like everyone has an opinion, right? You should do this. Oh, never do that. Well, my grandmother swore by this. It's just a tidal wave of conflicting information. And honestly, it's just really hard to know who to trust.
So, in this explainer, we are going to cut through all of that noise. We're using direct, no-nonsense advice from pediatrician Dr. Sarah O'Rourke to separate the dangerous myths from the actual evidence-based facts that'll keep your baby safe and hopefully keep you sane.
First up, let's talk about the one topic that haunts the dreams of every single new parent: sleep. Or, the total lack of it. We're going to decode the myths and figure out what actually works, and more importantly, what's actually safe. You've definitely heard this one a million times. Never wake a sleeping baby. It sounds like good advice, but for a newborn, it's actually a pretty dangerous myth. See, their number one job is to grow, and that means they need to eat a lot. Dr. Orr is super clear on this. Even if they look perfectly peaceful, you have to wake them up to feed every 2 to 3 hours, at least for the first couple of months. Okay, this one has absolutely no room for debate. The safest way for a baby to sleep is on their back. Always. The only, and I mean only exception, is if they're napping on your chest while you are wide awake and watching them. Any other time you lay them down, in a bassinet, in a crib, it has to be on their back, period. Swaddling. It can be a total lifesaver for soothing a fussy baby, because it mimics that snug feeling of being in the womb. But you gotta do it right. You don't want it too tight around their chest, and this is crucial. Their legs need to have enough room to move and stretch out. That's super important for healthy hip development. Oh, and a little pro tip: a really comfy, swaddled baby might not wake up for feeds on their own, so you have to be extra on top of it. Of course, your little one won't be a tiny burrito forever. The second they start fighting the swaddle or trying to roll over, that is your sign to get their arms out. And once they're actively rolling, it's time to officially graduate to a wearable blanket or a sleep sack. This is a really critical safety step because it means they can use their arms to push up and move their head if they happen to roll onto their tummy. So here's the bottom line. The absolute golden rule for a safe sleep space: bare is best. All of those cute bumpers and soft blankets and fancy sleep positioners you see in the stores, they are all suffocation hazards. The only things that should ever be in the crib are a tight-fitted sheet on the mattress and the baby. That's it. Nothing else. Now let's talk about all that popular baby tech. Those little monitors that track heart rate and oxygen levels? They might seem like a great way to get some peace of mind, but as Dr. Orr points out, they often do the exact opposite. Normal little fluctuations, or the baby just kicking their foot, or the sensor slipping off, can trigger false alarms, and that just causes way more anxiety than it relieves. All right, let's move on from sleep to the other massive topic: feeding. It doesn't matter if you're breastfeeding or formula feeding, there are myths everywhere. So let's clear a few of those up right now. Okay, first up, formula. The good news? You can totally cross that expensive bottle warmer off your list. Room temperature or even cold milk is perfectly fine for your baby. But now for the really serious part. Never, ever, ever try to make your own formula at home. A baby's nutritional needs are incredibly specific, and getting that wrong can have seriously dangerous long-term consequences. Now let's talk breastfeeding. The first huge myth we have to bust is that it's supposed to be painful. Look, there might be a little discomfort at first while you're both learning, but continuous pain is not normal. As Dr. Orr says here, if it keeps hurting, it's a sign of a poor latch. That's your cue to get help from a lactation consultant or your pediatrician right away. Oh boy, this is a big one that catches a lot of people by surprise. There's this widespread belief that you can't get pregnant while you're breastfeeding. And while it might slightly decrease your chances, it is absolutely not a reliable form of birth control. Dr. O'Rourke is very direct about this one. You can get pregnant. And finally, let's just put this worry to rest for good. The size of your chest is determined by fatty tissue. Milk is produced in glandular tissue. The two things are not related. So your ability to produce milk has absolutely nothing to do with your bra size. Okay, so right when you think you've finally figured out the whole sleep and feeding thing, your baby gets a little bigger and a whole new wave of questions pops up. Let's get into solid foods, baby gear, and travel safety. When it comes to starting solid foods, This is the magic number. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends waiting until your baby is about 6 months old.
Now, what's really interesting here is the why behind that 6-month mark. And, spoiler alert, it has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not your baby has teeth. It's all about their physical development. A baby is ready for solids when they have enough core strength to sit up by themselves without support. That posture is what protects them from choking.
This one highlights a super important safety issue that's really easy to overlook. A car seat, whether it's actually in the car or just clicked into a stroller, puts a baby into this scrunched up position. That can actually compress their little airway and make it harder for them to breathe. That's why you should never let a baby sleep in a car seat for a long time. And if you're on a road trip, you need to be taking them out to stretch every hour to hour and a half. So, we have busted myths about sleep and feeding and solids, but new questions are always going to come up. In a world full of TikTok doctors and well-meaning relatives, where do you actually turn for answers that you can rely on?
If you remember only one thing from this entire explainer, please make it this. Your number one, go-to, most trusted resource is your pediatrician. Like Dr. Orr says, it's literally their job to stay on top of all the latest research to keep your baby healthy and safe. But hey, we all know it's 3 in the morning sometimes and you just need to look something up online. If you do, Dr. Ort recommends sticking to verified sources. Start with your own pediatrician's or hospital's website, or just go straight to healthychildren.org. It's run by the American Academy of Pediatrics, so you know you're getting the most up-to-date, research-backed information. You know, at the end of the day, navigating new parenthood isn't really about having all the answers. It's about knowing who to ask. By figuring out who your trusted, evidence-based sources are, starting with your doctor, you can tune out all that noise, ignore the myths, and just focus on what really matters, enjoying your new baby with confidence.